Well, Cody, right here. Obviously, a massive fight week for UFC 300, big milestone. You're accustomed to big cards, so I guess, but like, what are the emotions now? Like, fight week's done, fight camp's done, just got to cut weight and get in there and fight.
Excited. I think that sums it up. The excitement, all the hard work's been put in. We're here healthy, hungry, and motivated to go and perform, open up an amazing card in UFC 300, and just grateful.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Like, Dana announced that you guys were kicking off the card like a while ago. Were you aware of that before he even, he said it on ESPN or whatever? And do you like kicking off this card?
This is a first for me, fighting the first on the card. But, we're making history. There's never been a matchup in the UFC that's two former world champions kicking off a card. So grateful for the spotlight, grateful for the opener of the amazing card, like I said, with such amazing athletes, and also to draw people in early. They don't want to miss this fight.
And you both called for this fight, and it's not always the UFC will book a fight that both guys want that far out. So when you called out Deiveson and he called out you, was it just a matter of time before this was rebooked at bantamweight?
I called him out. He doesn't want this fight. So let's get that clear. It's a fight that's been in my mind for a while. I was supposed to fight him nearly 4 years ago. Obviously, I got COVID really bad. I had to pull out of the fight and focus on getting healthy. And it's been, an uphill grind to get back to this point. But I stuck true to myself, believed in myself through the ups and the downs, the adversity, what life throws at you. And everything comes full circle. And we're here, fight week. And I'm more excited for this fight now than it was scheduled in the past.
Is that just because of what he's been saying or where you are in your career, or like what makes this more important? Because that original booking was supposed to be a title fight, and now it's, you're kicking off this card.
For me, it's a fight that I've wanted for so long, and to have those feelings that have taken away from you from COVID, to be back to fighting for a world championship, so those feelings still have motivated me and given me, such drive to this camp and this call out and this visualization of my last fight to call him out. He came up and had a successful debut win at bantamweight, and I feel good here. This is my weight, and I'm here to remind everybody that I'm the best in the world.
And I'm sure people have asked you that, but he's called you mentally fragile. He's called you this and that. Do you think he truly believes that, or is he just trying to sell the fight?
Yeah, truly, he's trying to sell the fight. And also, I've been there. I've been there where I had to talk, where I wasn't mentally prepared to go on there. I'm always ready to fight, physically. Mentally, it's the biggest thing, that I feel like I've really honed my skills. I work with the UFC sports therapist, Micah, and we've just been consistent since moving out here. It's something that I never thought I needed to do. And some of my hardest sessions were going there with him. Over training, over sparring, over the grind, constant grind. It was always driving to those sessions knowing that I had to, open up about my thoughts, my feelings, and I've never been one to express those. But, he's helped out a lot, tremendously, not in just my athletic career, performance-wise, but life as well. So be able to balance all that together and stay, engaged in the moments and the times, and so I feel like that is a huge thing that I've worked that's different. Nothing's different in my speed, my power, my vision. It's my mental fortitude that's been what's keeping me here and keep me motivated and understanding this is what I love to do. And I think that's what's really relit the passion and the love for the sport. So there was a time in my life when I was in my career that I was just kind of going through the motions, fighting the fight. I'm fighting because I want to fight. And that's me being real and honest with myself, with everybody. Like, I'm so excited for this fight. This is a fight that I've called and wanted. Going back to your question about Deiveson, I've been there where maybe he lacks a lot of confidence. Maybe he didn't prepare ready like he needed to, so he's trying to get into the head game. And that's maybe his out. Hey, get in Cody's head, I'm going to win this fight. And that's just, if that's what he's going off of to be victorious on Saturday, he's going to have a long night ahead of him.
And just last one for me, two quick ones that unrelated to your fight. Can I get your thoughts on the main event and the BMF fight between Max and Justin?
Main event, super excited for that. Jamal, what a journey he's had to come back, from being a world champion, finally being a world champion, to the injury, I've seen him at the PI, with his rehab, the way that he's been just, diving at it, wanting to come back, and then they call him for the Alex fight. And look at his career. I mean, he's fought the who's who. He's a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal fighter. That's going to be an awesome main event. And then the BMF. I mean, you got Max Holloway, who's a fan favorite. I'm a huge fan of Max. And Justin Gaethje is just, I think he's really hitting his peak in his career over his last few fights. We spoke briefly on the things that he's done to help get him catapulted to where he's at now. And he's looked amazing in his last few outings. So that's going to be an amazing fight and very well deserved for the BMF title.
Cody, over here. Given that this fight was going to take place during the COVID time and now we're here 4 years later, what are some ways your approach towards Deiveson changed since then to now, if it did change at all?
I was so early on in the camp when I had to pull out from the fight. So we were just starting to study Deiveson. He was doing his thing at 25. He was, a very good champion, was having good performances there. So we were prepared for, the best Deiveson to date. It was good to see him fight at bantamweight. To get that read, we watched a lot of that fight. And got a lot of information and data that we have used all camp and going to use that in our favor, come Saturday night.
And your last 6 fights in the UFC have all been in Vegas between the T-Mobile and here at the Apex. Now that the 7th is going to be here for 300, such a historic card, how has it been fighting here in the fight capital of the world and even putting in work here like you have been at the PI and everything?
Las Vegas is an amazing place. It's growing so much, and to be able to fight here in the fight capital of the world is always great. Now I call this place home. I'm raising my son here, so it's great to fight in my backyard. They pick me up from my house. I see my son, I see my dogs before I go to battle. Go into battle, come home, and it's great. Sleep in my own bed, so it's nice to always fight in Las Vegas and to live here as well.
Cody, over here. Obviously, Deiveson, a former champion at flyweight, fighting him at bantamweight. What are sort of the implications of a victory here? Because with you being a former champion, that's got to count for something, taking out someone like Deiveson.
Yeah, Deiveson's a former world champion at flyweight. He's came up. He's ranked 8th in the division. I think rankings are a bunch of bullshit, anyways. But he's 8th, so he's in the rankings. That'd be 3 fights in a row for me. I'm gonna knock him out on Saturday. It puts me right back to title contention where I belong.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I know Uriah Faber, your good friend, is part of, I think, Deiveson's management at all. Have you spoken to him at all just when this fight was announced at all? Because obviously you guys have a long history.
Yeah, Deiveson's been out the Team Alpha Male and trained. We have a lot of Brazilians that's trained with him and coached him, actually, from Team Alpha Male. Actually, my training partner that I brought all camp, Alan Blasio, phenomenal. You guys keep hearing this name. He'll be in the UFC real soon. Trained with him. He's Brazilian as well. Gave me a good look for Figueiredo. And so I mean, with Uriah, I'm not too sure with what he's doing with the management, company, but Uriah's my boy, and we've talked and we train when he comes out. And we always, touch base, throughout, parts of our lives. Moving away from Sacramento was really tough, but I couldn't be far from my son. I miss my team. I miss my coaches, and Sacramento was a place that I went out there at 22 years old, 1-0 as a pro, and I had a dream, and Uriah opened his doors for me and helped me out a lot. So I'm forever grateful for him and Team Alpha Male. I mean, it's been a decade of my life. I went from 1-0 to world champion in less than 2 years with those guys. And so Sacramento will forever be a huge part of my life. But he's always going to be my friend, and he's rooting for me and giving me tips, and just excited for this opportunity.
And just last one for me. I'm sure you're excited to see Jose Aldo back in the division. That's a fight you've never had in your career. Is that kind of hitting your radar when you heard that he was coming back of a potential matchup? Because we never got to see you two fight.
Exactly. Jose Aldo is one of the greatest fighters that ever graced the Octagon, WC, UFC. It's funny because now I train with his good friend and longtime coach, Mateus Nakao, is my striking coach. So, I think that he would be a little, unwavering of wanting us to fight. And, I have so much respect for Jose Aldo and Nova União team that I'm just excited for him to be back. It's an exciting fight for him to come back and fight Jonathan Martinez in his home country in Brazil. So I'm happy that Jose Aldo is back. But, I'm looking forward to my fight against Deiveson Figueiredo on Saturday, and that's what I'm focused on.
Cody over here.
Cody?
Becoming a champion is hard enough. Trying to become a champion after doing a major reset is even harder. Look at Connor, Max, Charles Oliveira. Getting to that championship is tough. Do you believe that we're in the midst of a winning streak that gets you to a title shot?
You trying to say this is a comeback?
Yes, sir.
I think I've been here. I just kind of been, stuck in my ways, had to learn, had to grow a lot. You guys saw me at 23 years old, 25-year-old world champion. This is my 20th professional fight, 15th UFC fight. So you guys watched me grow in this octagon, and honestly, it was easy to become a world champion. That was easy. That was fast-tracked it, Now climbing up this mountain again, it's been a little bit rougher. I found, obstacles and adversity and setbacks, but I'm blazing this trail, which is a different trail along this mountain, So I'm excited. Like I said, I called for these fights. These are the fights that I want. This is the fights putting me back in title contention. This fight right here, motivated me and has me driven to go out there and perform. I definitely put the work in, and I'm just excited that it's fight week. I'm healthy. I pray to God that Deiveson has, prepared well, and he's ready for an action-packed fight on Saturday.
There was a lot of hostility between you and the current bantamweight champion over the years. Is that like a gigantic carrot at the end of the?
Oh, that's definitely. He's still the champion. When it's my time to fight for the title again and regain the title, I should say, then I'm happy with that fight because that's going to be a huge pay-per-view draw. No other bantamweight in the division moves the needle like I do. I just got to focus on winning, and everything else will fall into place. Thank you, guys.